General Motors, they have a joint venture with Wuling in China. They've just revealed their $5,500 electric car. This car's been around for a few years, but this is the updated, this is the newer version. And honestly, it's unreal. I mean, it's cheaper than what people purchase an electric bicycle for. And it's actually really, really, really good. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. The Wuling Hongguang Mini EV. At one point, this was the best-selling electric car in the world. And, well, it might be again with this new model. It's honestly so incredibly good for the price. This new version is a much more improved, much better vehicle than the previous version, which was smaller, boxier, and a lot less practical. And it's about the same price still. This new version has a 30 kilowatt motor. It doesn't sound like much. That's 40 horsepower, but it's more than enough considering the weight of these vehicles. They're very, very, very light. They only weigh around about 1,000 kilograms, so it's just over 2,000 pounds. But it's bigger now. Well, it used to be 2.9 meters long. It's now 3,256 millimeters long. They're also rear-wheel drive, so they're kind of a fun little car. Now, the first generation Hongguang Mini EV was a 3-door vehicle. This is now the more practical, newer version, the 5-door version, and it looks a lot more modern. As you can see, it's very different looking vehicle. This new version is actually 336 millimeters longer, 17 millimeters wider, and 43 millimeters lower, but it's still the same price. Now, this means it's much bigger on the inside. It's got a 123 litre boot, which is not very big, but if you put down those rear seats, that'll actually expand to 745 litres. So for a second car, this thing would be great. It'd cost you nothing. It'd be so cheap to run. 745 litres, you could still fit plenty of stuff in there, tons of shopping you could fit in that vehicle. And it has 19 storage spaces around the car, which is quite amazing. In addition to that, if you look on the inside, it's got 2 digital screens. It's even got one for the driver. You don't even get one of those in a Tesla. So, yeah. Anyway, it integrates a ring-shaped cage body with a high proportion of high-strength steel. 67% is high-strength steel. There's a lot of cars made in the United States, and in Europe, they don't have high-strength steel at all. 67% of it is high-strength steel. So I think this is a kind of car they should sell outside of America. Outside of China. I think this would be incredible. I mean, imagine if you could get one of these for $6,000 US or $5,500 US in America or Europe. This could be the best-selling car in the world by a huge margin. And what about in Africa? What about in Indonesia? They actually do have these in Indonesia. What about in India? Yeah, I think this would be insanely popular at this price. How big is the battery? Well, it's not very big, but there is a couple of versions of this. There is a bigger battery version that has, I believe, a 30 kilowatt hour battery that is going to give you about 300 kilometers of range, about nearly 200 miles of range. But this version for this price has a 16.2 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery, which gives it about 200 kilometers of CLTC range. So that's about 130 kilometers of WLTP range. Top speed is 100 kilometers an hour. It can get to 50 kilometers an hour in 4.9 seconds. So it's actually not bad in terms of speed. Would you drive it on a highway? Well, you could, to be honest. There's nothing wrong with it. It's got plenty of airbags. They're not unsafe. Much safer than driving a motorbike around, that's for sure. But it probably wouldn't be, it's probably more likely to be your second car, right? So this might not be the car you drive on your freeways. It might be the car you just do your city driving in, do school runs, that kind of stuff. Charging speed. You can charge from 30 to 80% in 35 minutes. Now the charging speed is really slow. It's a 20 kilowatt DC charging, but because the battery is quite small, you actually charge it pretty quickly. Like I said before, there is a 3-door version of this that's a little bit cheaper. I think it's about $500 US cheaper. This kind of car could revolutionize the world. If only India would allow this kind of vehicle into their market. Imagine how many they can sell in India. How many people in India are just like, on that borderline where they can't quite afford a car and petrol for them is quite expensive. That's the case for probably potentially hundreds of millions of people. But if you could get a car like this for $5,000 US that you could power every day using a couple of solar panels, it'd just be a brilliant solution for so many people. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Let me know what you think in the comments.